Panther Nation, what's good? This is Dave. This ain't one of them normal episodes, man. This is Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's Tuesday during the regular season, so we about to break down and talk about how the fantasy week went, what's the next phase, who should we think about trading for, who should we stay away from, who should we have some patience with, because there was a lot of action that happened this week. So we'll go over a couple of those things, but before I get started, man, make sure if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We are still trying to get to 12,000 subscribers. And as the banner shows, become a Patreon. www.patreon.com/PantherNationPC. Rashad's going to start doing more film breakdowns. The Discord is lit. We got exclusive ones for fantasy. I'll take your questions in here, but I am going to be focused on the Discord when it comes to the fantasy questions as well. All right, so let's start with the basics about what happened. For the most part, there was some disappointment. The Atlanta offense wasn't who we thought they were. The Green Bay Packers wasn't who we thought they were. It's been rough sledding from that standpoint, but I don't think there's a reason to panic yet. And there's some good things to check out too. So we'll look at some of the players from that game, and then we'll go from there. So what I'll do, I'm going to pull up the players. This is pretty much all the folks that are on the waiver wire in the PNP league. There's probably some others, but we'll focus on this first. But let's pull up some players before let me see. I want to put all because we want to look at some other players. So let's start with Atlanta. All right. And we want to look at Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts was a guy that I'm assuming you guys can see this. Let me know if you cannot. Kyle Pitts is a guy that there was a lot of hype above. He was kind of disappointing from his stat line. He only had 4 catches for 31 yards, but he had 8 targets, which is what you want to see out of a starting tight end. Most tight ends don't get 8 targets. So that's encouraging news. He just got to execute with the targets that he gets. So overall, I'm not too concerned about Kyle Pitts from that standpoint. Now, when we talk about the running back situation in Atlanta, we got to bring Mike Davis into the fray. Mike Davis got 15 carries and he got 3 receptions, so that means he got 8 touches. Okay, he got 8 touches. All right, nothing to snuff at. Okay, nothing to snuff at whatsoever. Nothing to snuff at. Can't be mad at what happened there at all. I mean, he had pretty good production. He just needed the TD. Mike Davis is what you want. All right. So Wayne Gallman was a healthy stretch. So we know he's not the backup anymore. That'll be Cordell Patterson. I don't think Cordell Patterson's that big of a threat. I mean, Cordell touched the ball 9 times. That's probably more like a 60-40 split, 70-30 split to Mike Davis. No reason to panic there from that standpoint. So I wouldn't be too concerned. Now, with regards to Matt Ryan, yeah, he was disappointed too. And he might be for most of the season. He might have good games occasionally, but as long as he doesn't have that offensive line, he lacks a line, so he's going to get destroyed. He's going to get killed. And that's exactly what happened to him. I mean, so those are the breaks with him. But I know one team that was really disappointing was the Packers of Green Bay, particularly Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers got us 1 fantasy point. He's the starting quarterback for one of my money leagues. He was severely disappointing. The Saints defense is legit, guys. So I wouldn't be panicking too much about the performance that Aaron Rodgers had. Now, from the standpoint of next week, they played Detroit, so I wouldn't be too concerned. I think he's due for a bounce back. I want to show you something that's interesting because I kind of laughed at it. So let's do all, and then let's do stats. See here. Hold on. No. Let's do overview. And then we'll 2021 season. All right. So all of these players right here scored more points than Aaron Rodgers, guys. Every single one of these quarterbacks. Mac Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo, Justin Herbert, Baker Mayfield, Taylor Heineke, even Matt Ryan, Justin Fields too, Andy Dalton. That was just bad. Even Marcus Mariota scored more points than Aaron Rodgers. All right. Aaron Rodgers barely scored more points than Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he went on IR. So, like, it was bad, man. And Jordan Love almost got as much points as him. So from that, but I still feel like there's no reason to panic with Aaron Rodgers from that standpoint. So there's no reason to panic with Aaron Rodgers. Now, when we talk about the running back position, it was rough for Aaron Jones, man. It was rough for Aaron Jones, but they were behind, so that's expected. I mean, he only had 7 touches. So, I mean, you can't, you kind of gotta wipe your hands with that one. AJ Dillon didn't really impact him that much. I mean, game script didn't help the cause. I wouldn't be too nervous about everything that's happened here with regards to the Packers. I know everybody's kind of in a panic. They play Detroit this week on Monday night, so give those guys 1 week. Devontae Adams, I mean, he got 10 points. He did okay. We would have wished for more, and I think we're going to get more next week. No reason to panic. You still play your guys. It's only week 1. I mean, we could get into Tennessee too if you want. I mean, there were some disappointments in Tennessee as well, particularly with AJ. AJ Brown did okay. It's still not AJ Brown numbers considering the circumstances, but I mean, he did all right. 14 points. You can't be too mad at that. Julio, I wasn't that high on Julio to begin with because you guys got to remember the Titans are a run-first team. So with regards to a run-first team, you're not going to really get too many targets at the wide receiver position. Typically, most run-first teams utilize the tight end more. So I think A.J. Brown's going to get his. Julio's is going to be tougher to come by. So from that standpoint, you just got to keep that in mind. Tannehill did okay. I would have wanted more out of him, but he did okay considering the circumstances. We got to stop the 3 turnovers, the 2 fumbles and interception. But other than that, man, he had a ho-hum day. I anticipate he'll do better next week. Derrick Henry, game script killed him, bro. That's what it ultimately boiled down to. He got shut down. I am encouraged by the fact that he had 3 receptions because that's typically not his lane. But I'm not panicking over Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is typically a late bloomer anyway from that standpoint. So it makes it interesting from there. Now I wanted to go after the negatives because typically in week 1 there tends to be a situation where there's a level of panic, right? People panic when they lose, and there's no reason to panic. I mean, it's a long season, so there's absolutely no reason to panic. So let's talk about availability on the waiver wire. First, we'll go with running backs. Shout out to Slim. Slim already picked. I'll go to a different league where the guy's available because this guy's available in like 99% of leagues right now. So I will go to a different league than I'm in. All right, I'll go to Game Theory. This is the 12 team league. All right, so let's look at some players to add. So let's start with the running back position because I know everybody's thinking about that. One guy that you should consider at the running back position, I think he's the top waiver wire pick for the week, is Elijah Mitchell. All right. Now, depending on what your running back situation is, and we'll get to quarterback soon, man. Depending on what your running back situation is, like if you got Saquon Barkley and you weren't too thrilled about what he did, you had Raheem Mostert, who just recently announced that he's going to be out for the season, and you need somebody. I think Elijah Mitchell fits the bill here. He's my top guy to get. Now that being said, I don't think you want to spend, if you are in a league where you have a budget, a free agent acquisition budget, then I'm recommending, you can be aggressive to go after Elijah Mitchell, but here's a caveat. Eventually, Trey Sermon is going to eat into his word over time of the season. So maybe you want to be aggressive to get Elijah Mitchell so you can stay in the game. But the reality is Trey Sermon is going to probably end up being the guy by the end of the season. So you got to take that into account. Or at a minimum, Trey Sermon is going to chew up into his carry count, in my opinion. I think right now, Elijah Mitchell is the one. All right. But so if you really need running back help, I wouldn't have an issue you spending 30 to 50% of your fab budget to try to go get him. I have no shame in it because you potentially might have a low-end RB1, high-end RB2 in your fab. Now, I would I thought about it, Slim. Now, you don't want to use your entire fab. That's too aggressive because it's a long season. I mean, and when I say percentage based on the budget. In week 1, you're going to have 100% of your budget. So from that standpoint, you don't want to spend more than 50% of your budget to get this guy. If somebody's willing to spend half their budget and you lose, so be it. So just keep that in mind. It depends, man. I think Mitchell is going to get the bulk of the work until Sermon starts showing out. It looks like the 49ers kept Elijah Mitchell hush-hush because nobody knew that he was the backup until Sermon was deactivated. Now, that being said, there might be folks who might be panicking over Trey Sermon. And what I say to that, stash him. Wait it out. But there might be some folks that will drop him. So, but I think Elijah Mitchell is definitely the top running back to get in fantasy right now. And somebody asked about Winston versus Tyrod. If Winston's still available in your league, Winston's the guy that you want to go after. All right, so with regards to that, I'm trying to look through the comments real quick. All right, so like I said, Elijah Mitchell's the top guy to get at the running back position. If you need other running back help, let's talk about handcuffs for a quick second. We just had a discussion with Atlanta. Cordell Patterson is the backup to Michael Davis, and I think he's getting some, and he's chewing up some carries. Nothing to be concerned about, but he's not somebody that you'll start, but he's somebody you need to consider. Another guy you need to consider, Larry Roundtree. Everybody's been talking like Justin Jackson is the handcuff. He's not the handcuff. I think Larry Roundtree is going to get the first opportunity. Now, that being said, I think it'll be a committee if Elson Eckler gets hurt. But I think Larry Roundtree is the guy you need to start thinking about getting and not Justin Jackson. Hasty is an option too, but once again, he doesn't have starting material. He's not a starter quite yet. And I think it's going to turn to a committee once Sermon gets a little bit on from that standpoint. Now, as for other running backs, if Latavius Murray is available, you should probably go get him. If James White is available, you absolutely should go get him. I'm looking at, I said James White because I'm shocked that he's available, but if he's available, you should absolutely go get him. It looks like Ronald Rojo is out of the doghouse in Tampa. People might panic after what happened. So if tomorrow rolls around and somebody drops Rojo, go scoop him. If Mark Ingram is out there, you should absolutely go get him. I still think Elijah Mitchell is the top of the heap, but I think Mark Ingram's a better option than everybody else other than Elijah Mitchell that's available on this list right here. Corey Davis or Julio this week. Lattimore, but Gilmore's hurt, isn't he? Double check the injury status of Stephon Gilmore. If the Stephon Gilmore's healthy, I'm leaning towards Julio. If not, I'd rather have Corey Davis. I think Corey Davis is going to get the targets. David Johnson is worth keeping, but he might be the third option in Houston. So take that with a grain of salt. I don't think we're going to get games like what we got in Houston. So let's pull up Houston real quick. Let's look at the running back situation in Houston real quick. So let me pull up Houston. Stand by. So we got David Johnson. They're going to go a committee. David Johnson only has 6 touches. All right. Mark Ingram had Jesus. He touched the ball a lot. He had 26 carries. No passing, though. but he touched the ball 26 times. So it looks like Ingram's the one, in my opinion. I think Philip Lindsay is probably the 2. David Johnson's the 3. Now, from that standpoint, I think Philip Lindsay probably has the most upside long term. If you want to drop him, if you're going to drop him to go get like an Elijah Mitchell, I have no problem with that. Is Zach Moss droppable? I don't know if I'm ready to commit to that quite yet. But he was a healthy scratch. Well, he could be droppable at this point. I mean, and I'm kind of looking forward to people doing it. But yeah, man, it's kind of weird. That was a surprise scratch. But Matt Breida's interesting. I honestly don't want anything to do with the Buffalo run game, but it's your call. But yeah, I wouldn't have a problem if you drop him. If Gilmore's hurt, I like Corey Davis. Point blank, period. Yeah, the problem with Buffalo is that they already have a running back. His name is Josh Allen. Josh Allen's going to vulture them TDs. He runs a lot. So that's the dilemma I have with the Bills. Like, I'm not a big fan of that situation at all. Damian Williams should get some play too. He's getting some work behind David Montgomery, so he should get some love too from that standpoint. He's not a slouch, and if David Montgomery get hurt, as long as if Montgomery gets hurt, he's gonna get all the work, especially since Tariq Cohen's out. So just keep that in mind. Kenneth Gainwell is the backup to our boy to Miles Sanders, and it looks like they like to have some level of committee there too. I mean, he got 11 touches He got 11 touches on Sunday, so keep that in mind as well. I think that's the list. I don't think I got any other running backs I'm interested in getting and interested in going with. It's still Zeke. Don't panic over week 1, man. It's still Zeke. All right, let's talk about these wide receivers. All right, so we heard about Denver. We heard about Jerry Jeudy. He's going to be out for an extended period of time. KJ Hamler is going to take that helm. So my order in my head would be KJ Hamler, then Tim Patrick. From that standpoint, but the top free agent pickup for me from a wide receiver standpoint, it's pretty much a tie between Sterling Shepard. Well, Sterling Shepard 1, Sammy Watkins 2, Emmanuel Sanders 3, and Nelson Aguilar. And then the different wide receivers in that order. Tony Jones Jr., he was scooped up a lot, man, prior. And in a lot of my drafts, he was drafted too. If he's out there, go get him. But he's a low end flex at best. Yeah. So let's look at KJ and Tim real quick. So KJ got 4 targets in that game yesterday. He would have had almost a 100-yard day if he didn't drop that pass. Tim's probably gonna be more on the slot side, but they had the same amount of targets. So I lean more towards Hamler because Hamler is gonna get more opportunity from a snap count perspective. I think I like Aguilar here over Boyd, but it's close, man. Because at this point, it looks like Boyd's the third option in Cincinnati. So let's look at Cincinnati real quick. Let's see here. Chase Ball, man. I was wrong about Chase. If you got him later, because he dropped in drafts, if you got him later, man, you might have got a bargain there, sir. Wait, I didn't even check to see the target count. Chase had 7. Jamar Chase had 7 targets. T. Higgins had 5 targets. Tyler Boyd had 4 targets. So he's the third option. And I don't think that's going to change. Now, versus New England, Jacoby's definitely the top target there, right? Jacoby Myers had 9 targets. Nelson Aguilar is probably second, if I had to guess. And he had 7 targets. So yeah, I would definitely take Aguilar over Boyd. I think the target share is there. Regan's probably the second wide receiver in Philadelphia, man. So from that standpoint, from a wide receiver standpoint, let me go ahead and go back to available and all. So yeah, Sterling Shepard. I like Emmanuel Sanders, too. I like Emmanuel Sanders. And by the way, just for the sake of a fab budget perspective, the only player that you should be willing to spend close to half your budget to go get is Elijah Mitchell. Everybody else is falling between the 5 and 10% range. Like, I don't think you need to be spending more than 10% of your fab to get any of these guys. We'll get the quarterbacks next. Hunter Renfrow, I don't think that was a fluke. I mean, he works the slot. He got 9 targets yesterday. I don't think that was a fluke by any stretch. He's a good pickup too. Van, he only had 3 targets, man. I don't know, like, that's boom or bust. That screams boom or bust. AJ Green, he had 6 targets. He just didn't complete. He couldn't execute on the targets that he had. I mean, if you're desperate at the position and you name too many wide receivers out there, I would take a flyer on him. Brian Edwards, same thing, but I probably would prefer Renfrow because of his slot presence over Brian Edwards. De'Ami Brown, it's more of a stretch. I think the only guy from Washington that I would be willing to touch right now from a receiver perspective would be McLaurin and Logan Thomas, and they're gone. They're everywhere. They're already on teams. Yeah, Christian Kirk. I would take Christian Kirk over AJ Green, by the way. Christian Kirk over AJ Green. I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, I would take Christian Kirk over AJ Green. Where he's at? Did I pass him by? Thought I saw him. Oh, the order changed. Hold on. I would absolutely take Christian Kirk over AJ Green. Because at least he executed on his target, so you would think that this target share might go up. Don't expect two TDs every week, but he's another guy that you should go after for sure. Problem is, man, it's about target share. He's boom or bust. Like, everybody sees that touchdown pass that Van got, but he's boom or bust, really. Yeah, Kirk had a great day. Christian Kirk had a great day. All right, so after that, I mean, if you want to have a quick discussion about the Detroit wide receivers, we can. I want to talk about them for a bit. I think we should stay away from this group, only because of the scheme. As you can see, only in this league, only one Detroit wide receiver was picked up. Tyrell Williams, blah. Khalif Raymond, blah. I ain't too interested in these guys, man. I'm not impressed with none of these guys. I think the only receiver I want out of Detroit is Hockenson, and he's taking. Let me see if there's any questions. So the way waivers work, it depends on the league that you're in, right? So the waiver order, first you got to check and see what your waiver order is. Most leagues, the waiver order is based on the record. So if you got the worst record, then you would be number 1 in the waiver order. So you would get the top guy. If you have the best record, then you will be at the bottom of the waiver order. So it'll be a while. You have to wait until everybody else puts their players in. You'll be the last guy to get a guy. So I know most folks are thinking, well, half the teams are going to be undefeated and half the teams are going to be 0-1. So for that standpoint, it comes down to points. So the team with the least amount of points will be number one in the waiver wire. You can see what your waiver order is when you go to my team. So for this league, my waiver order is 8. But for this league too, it doesn't matter because this league has a fab budget, a free agent acquisition budget. So I got to spend money to get players. I can spend none, but then it goes to the waiver order. But I have to spend money to get players in this league. But most leagues, that's not the case. Can we look at week 2 schedule for our league? Yeah, hold on one second. But before I do that, let's talk about the quarterbacks. It's quarterbacks. Because, quarterbacks matter. And then maybe I'll go over some streamers real quick for you guys. Quarterbacks. I don't know. Folks that are in here, if Jameis is in your league, you need to go get Jameis. After that, Tyrod would be the next one up. I mean, Kirk Cousins is interesting too if he's there. Derek Carr is interesting too if he's there. But I think Tyrod is going to be – he's going to have a more consistent floor for you than probably every quarterback I just mentioned. Some of the other quarterbacks will have higher ceilings, but I think Tyrod will have a consistent floor. Bridgewater this week, if you're into streaming, Bridgewater this week against Jacksonville is encouraging as hell. I like Bridgewater this week against the Jags. Another streamer, Kirk Cousins is a good streamer only because it's going to be a shot against Arizona. So I like Kirk Cousins this week as well. Tyrod Taylor is a good one too because they're going up against Cleveland. Jared Goff is a good one as well because they're going up against Green Bay. So there's a lot of streaming options for most of these leagues. I don't know if I would touch Sam Darnold. I'm not touching Zach Wilson, and I'm not touching Jimmy Garoppolo from that standpoint. And that's pretty much it for quarterbacks. Tight ends, Jared Cook, man. Jared Cook's the guy you need to go after. He had 8 targets. That's who you need to go after, Jared Cook. If you need a tight end, Jared Cook. I would take Corey Davis because of the target share that he's going to get for the Jets. Hold on a second. I don't know who the Steelers are playing, so bear with me for a second. I'm very forgetful. Oh, they're playing the Raiders. Oh, give me Deontay Johnson. Slim, give me Deontay Johnson, bro. Give me Deontay Johnson. You can't really lose either way, but give me Deontay Johnson. Yeah, I would take Corey Davis. Oh, so what you're trying to say, I'm trying to get Corey Davis and Nelson Aguilar and dropping Tyler Boyd, and they both still available. Will it pick the better player? You have to put in the waiver wire for Corey Davis first and then put one in for Nelson Aguilar and hope that the 7 people in front of your waiver doesn't go after those guys. Because if they go after them, you're not going to get them. Najee or Chris Carson? Najee. Mike Evans or AB? Mike Evans. Although it's going to be a random type of situation with Tampa. I think Brady likes Antonio Brown. So, I mean, it's an easy way to say that. But let's see. If you got Mike Evans, you got to play him, man. I know he was disappointing, but you got to play him. I mean, if you want to hedge your bets and play both of them, go ahead. But if Atlanta's as bad as you guys, a lot of folks claiming to be, it might end up being a more of a running type of game once they get the lead. You got to put it in that order, bro. So you have to make that decision. So you put the first. So it depends on the order that you put it in. There's an order that you put in. So if you put Davis in as your top priority, as long as the first 7 people in front of you don't take Davis, then you're going to get Davis. And if you put Aguilar behind him, if somebody gets Davis, then you'll get Aguilar, unless somebody gets Davis and Aguilar in front of you. It's about the order that you put. Let me show you. I'll just show you because it's probably easier to show you. Sorry. So let me cut this comment off and show you real quick. I like Lockett. Corey Davis and Mitchell from San Fran. Mitchell. Mark Andrews. Galladay's going against Washington this week. All right. So Boss Man Fat, I'm gonna help you out. So let me do available. Corey Davis is not my league, so just roll with me for a second. Let's say the guy I want is Sterling Shepard. Well, let me do a league where I haven't done my waivers yet because it makes it easier for that. So give me 1 second. Let me change this real quick. Bear with me for 1 second. Did I do that one yet? I don't think so. I did that one already. Have I done them all already? All right, we'll use this one. We'll use the Pen into Podcast one. It's whatever. All right, so let's go to add players. All right. So let's say I want to grab. Oh man, it's tough in these streets. Let's say I want to grab Tim Patrick. I want Tim Patrick to be my top guy. So now I have to drop somebody to get Tim Patrick. Unless I have an empty slot, which I do now since Raheem Moster's on IR. But for the sake of this example, let's say, all right, I'm going to drop Nelson Aguilar to get Tim Patrick. I will never do this. Let me be clear. Let's say that's what I want to do. So I click drop, and then where's my option at? It then says continue. Continue, then it confirms the transaction. Then I confirm. So then I can look at my pending moves, right? So it shows the order. So if I'm going after a defense, and I'll talk about defense in a minute. So it shows a certain order. And the top one is the one that'll go first as long as he clears waivers. So he's got to fall to me. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, I'm number 8 in this league. And both of them will go through if nobody goes after these guys. But if people in front of me go after these guys and neither one will make it through. That's your waiver priority. So I'm going to cancel this claim right here. I don't need that. All right. Not yet. But I did notice that with Eckler. This new coach scares me a bit. Yeah, this new coach scares me a bit. But I'm not panicking, man. If they don't dump off the Eckler. But he did run some routes. So there's that. So I'm not panicking yet. Let's wait and see. It's 1 week. For flex, should I start DJ Moore, Aguilar, or Cole Beasley since he was targeted 13 times last week? I'm starting DJ Moore 10 out of 10 times in the flex. So okay, let's talk about defenses real quick. Let's see. So I stream defenses in most of the leagues that I'm in. I typically change them every week. The way that I do it, I look and see what the opponents are looking like. For me, the Giants are an interesting streaming defense this week. I know they're terrible, but Taylor Heineke is playing a quarterback for Washington. So they're interesting. And I believe are they playing from home this week? No, they're on the road. All right. That one's interesting. The Saints is probably the one that'll be the most interesting out of them all if they're out there. The Saints are probably the one to go with. I know we're Panthers fans here, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. You know, the Panthers are with the dink and dunk offense. I think the Saints will be able to sniff that pretty easily. So hopefully Darnold will throw the ball down the field. Hopefully Joe Brady will scheme to throw that ball down the field with Darnold. The Bengals are interesting against the Bears. I don't believe in the Bears, so there's that. Other than that, I don't think I'm touching any more of these other ones. I'm not going to touch the Chiefs. I'm not going to touch Seattle. Definitely not touching the Jets. Not touching Philadelphia against the 49ers. So that's pretty much the list for that. And as for kicker, man, here's what I recommend, bro. I recommend Zane Gonzalez. I'm kidding, guys. I kid. Kickers are random, man. No reason to chase a kicker. Just roll with what you got. You ain't going to be able to guess how many field goals and points are being made. Carolina or Pittsburgh? Oh, the Steelers. You start the Steelers this week. Yeah, I'm kind of stunned that the Saints are out there in them streets, but it is what it is. Yeah, but this is a different Jameis, bro. Can't go off the past. Let's look at Jawan Johnson, shall we? I thought Trotman was going to be better. Nah, he's touchdown dependent, bro. I figured he was. I had to double check. I thought he only had like 2 or 3 catches. He's touchdown dependent. That's dangerous. I mean, tight end's position. I probably would prefer Trotman for the consistency's sake. I mean, you can't guess touchdowns, but he got 6 targets in that game. Jawan got 2 TDs off 3 receptions. You can't always be dependent on that. I mean, OBJ is a wide receiver 3 flex at best. If it's the same Jameis, man, he threw 5 touchdowns on Sunday. I wouldn't touch this guy as a wide receiver. I'm going to tell you that right now. All right. The bottom line is it's week 1. Don't panic. Stafford or Mayfield, give me Stafford. Which TE for what? Which tight end for what? So I'm going to name a player I'm not going to tell you guys, but for my Patreon folks, check your Discord. I'm going to name a player that you should go after if somebody drops them. I'm not going to name it here. There is some benefits of being a Patreon, you know. I think this individual is going to get dropped in some leagues after what happened. Depending on who's available, man. If Jared Cook is out there for the Chargers, I would highly recommend going after him at tight end. After that, it gets kind of ugly, like Gerald Everett. Anthony Ferkser. And, I mean, Tyler Croft is interesting. But it's a wasteland at this point. I mean, if you're going to ask, Eric Ebron, if he's around, but I think he'll end up losing his job to the rookie over time. Like at this point, the targets ain't going to be there. I think the best guy to go after if he's available right now is Jared Cook. So let's look at the target share for the Saints. For wide receivers. Where's Callaway at? There we go. Callaway only had 2 targets in that game. That's scary. Deontay Harris had 2. Humphrey didn't have any. Man, I don't know, man. These wide receivers ain't really hitting. James didn't throw the ball that much either, if I remember correctly. He threw most of them probably to Kamara. Let's do this real quick. Let's check here. Yeah, so he had 3 catches there. Nobody on the team had more than 3 catches yesterday. And the only people that had 3 catches was Kamara and the tight ends. So I'm starting to question the wide receiver situation in New Orleans. Being the number 1 ain't always what it's shaped up to be. James Robinson and Melvin Gordon. I'm still rolling with James Robinson, man. Terrence Marshall is the 4th option on an offense. I mean, he's competing with catches. He's competing with targets against Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, and Robbie Anderson. Even though he did have more targets than Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson had more fantasy points because he had that big pass. I mean, we can look at Carolina real quick. I mean, we know that Chris McCaffrey is going to get the most targets out of all the receivers, so we don't even have to bother with that. But DJ Moore got 8 targets. Robbie Anderson only got 3, if I remember correctly. Yep, he had 3. And Terrence Marshall had 6. So, I mean, they're going to have that man in the slot, so it'll be interesting to see. Marvin Jones ain't available nowhere. I'll be shocked. I still think James Robinson is the top guy. I mean, I'm not going away from that. Mark Ingram over Zach Moss. Sterling Shepard's a starter. You can put him at wide receiver 3. You want to keep it a buck. Amari Cooper. Yeah, I mean, Urban's going to eventually cave. Like, I'm almost rooting for Urban Meyer to go ahead and take a college job so we can actually get James Robinson back. I don't understand why he doesn't want to utilize James Robinson. Oh, I'm not doubting that he's not available. My point is that Sterling Shepard, I said he's a starter. Absolutely, he's available in a lot of leagues. Yeah, I'm rooting for the Urban Exodus. Sammy Watkins and Brian Edwards. I actually like Brian Edwards more, man. But it's close only because they're both the 3rd option on a particular team. But Derek Carr is going to throw the ball more. All right. It's been 45 minutes. I'm ready to hang it up. You guys shouldn't be worrying about anybody right now. It's week 1. There shouldn't be no. We shouldn't be out here worrying. There's no reason to be worrying right now. You want to listen, man. Let me pull something up for you guys because I'm gonna try to help you guys understand that you shouldn't worry. Let's see here. So let me pull this back up for you guys one more again. Nope, that's not what I want. There we go. All right, so this happened to me last week. I went 5-2 this year, this week in the leagues. I went 5-2, so I can't complain too much. But this is one of my losses. I don't know if you can see it, but I had Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers got me 5 points. Now in this league, you get 2 points for every 25 yards thrown, and you lose a point for a sack, you lose 2 points for interceptions, and things of that sort. So, I had Aaron Rodgers. He got me 5 points. He had Matthew Stafford and he got 43, and I only lost by 12. And the difference was literally Aaron Rodgers not being able to get me 20 points. And 20 points is a low game from him. Like if you look at it, I don't know if you can pull up the stat lines from last year, but if you look up last year's, man, 35 to 40 was normal for him last year. And I don't typically ask for that much from my quarterback. Yeah, so it is what it is. My point is, I'm not panicking. Now, if he sinks the egg against Detroit, then I might panic a bit. Then I might be concerned. But I'm not panicking right now. I mean, the way I see it, at least I didn't lose by 70 points. But, and the thing is, Tyson Williams almost got me there, man. If they didn't start playing Latavius, I might have been all right. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week. But Rodgers owns this one. Even though Ridley sucked and James Robinson sucked, Rodgers owned it because the difference in the total was bad. Like these two guys sucking, it even out with Gesicki and Hilaire. But when your quarterback only scores 5 and your opponent's quarterback scores 43, that's hard to make up. Can we see that 70 game? That 70 game. What are you talking about? Oh, this one? Oh, yeah. My dude had Kyler Murray. I mean, my man had Kyler, Mixon, Taylor, Cooper. You're Jamar Chase, Hawkinson. Problems. Just problems across the board. And then he's got a strong bench. He's got Corey Davis on his bench. He should have if he manages his team, he has a legitimate shot to win. But we'll see. It's week 1. Injuries changes everything. Yeah, he had a monster squad. And the thing is, he's got Corey Davis on the bench, so he could put Corey Davis up there and ball. And he might go, and knowing him, he might go out after Elijah Mitchell. So, what up, shout out to Lunch Break Hot Take, man. In fantasy? Hell no. Oh, trade Sam for Aaron? Oh, yeah, I'll do that in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. No hesitation. But all right, man. Russell Wilson. Seattle's playing Indy, isn't he? If I remember correctly. What's the schedule? Oh, they're playing the Titans. Yeah, definitely Russell Wilson. Be quick, man, because I'm ready to log off. That, my friends, is brutal. That's brutal. And the fact that if you're a Ravens fan, that sucks. James Robinson for Tyler Lockett. I have Tyler Lockett. Should I accept? how bad is your running back situation and how good is your wide receiver situation. There ain't no Cooch colors. Teddy is who he is, man. Teddy is good enough. Teddy's not good enough to lead your team to win games, but he's good enough to not lose it for you. Here's the thing, guys. When it comes to trades, since we're in the discussion of trades, and then we're going to close it out once Steve gives me his running back and wide receiver situation. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with trades. You have to think about what you're going to lose in your end and figure out how you want to manage it. Oh, no, I ain't making that trade, bro. I think I would wait. I would wait that out. Because you need Lockett. Trading Lockett for James Robinson isn't going to fix your problem. It's going to make another problem worse because now you're only going to have Juju and Beasley. Nah, you gotta have to roll with the punches you got, buddy. You're just gonna have to roll with Najee and Saquon. Try to go after Eli Mitchell in the waivers, man. That's what I recommend. Go after Eli Mitchell and maybe Jamal Williams is out there from Detroit. So like, and it goes back to my discussion when it comes to trading, man. You don't just trade just to trade. You got to have a purpose to trade. Like, you need to trade in strength. Like, I'll name some. Let me think about some players that I would try to get off the paint right now. I think Chris Carson. Think about trading him. You know he's gonna get hurt the way he runs. Not Derrick Henry. I think panicky Saquon owners. I would take a risk and try to see if I can get him at a discount. Panicky Aaron Rodgers owners, I would try to get him at a discount. Panicky Aaron Jones owners, I would try to go get him at a discount. You got to trade on strength. Don't trade on panic. He might have lost his job, sir. He fumbled. I mean, you got to roll with the punches sometimes. Don't break your team up because of 1 week. It's only 1 week. I always tell this story, man. I had a season where I started 1-5, 1-6. And I was trying to trade my team away. I put my entire team on the block. And I had a good squad, too. I had Adrian Peterson. I had Josh Gordon, the one great year Josh Gordon had. I had a dope squad. And I started slow because I kept running. I started 1-5 because I kept running into the top scorer every week. And everybody was trying to lowball me on trades. Like, I was just wanting to get fair value back. But everybody was trying to debo me. And I said, nah, screw you guys. I'm just going to ruin y'all's season. I ended up making the playoffs that year. So that's why if you start 0-2, if you start 0-3, the season's not over yet, guys. I mean, you can turn it around. And I went from 1-5 to in the playoffs. And that was the season and I had Antonio Brown that year too. That was the game in the playoffs. I lost in the first round because Antonio Brown, it was a snow game. He stepped out of bounds. If the touchdown got called back, that touchdown didn't get called back, I would have won. All right, last call, and I'm gonna shut it down. It's been about an hour. I think I did well for you guys this week. And I put my Twitter handle here, man. So if you want to come, hit me up on Twitter, and I'll take your fantasy questions there. Give me a follow. Maybe I'll occasionally use Twitter Spaces to utilize some of that, and things of that sort. So, but yeah, man, make sure you like and subscribe. Become a Patreon. Patreon.com/PantherNationPC. We're going to be doing a lot of dope stuff. We got a lot of great interviews with some Panther legends and things of the sort. And make sure you follow us on all the socials. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Panther Nation @PantherNationPC on all those, with the exception of Facebook. No, you don't drop Jerry Jeudy. If your team has an IR spot, put him there. He's not out for the season. He's only out for a couple weeks. Just have him sitting on your bench, bro. So yeah, don't drop Jerry Jeudy. All right, guys, it's been real. Me and Rashad are gonna do a show with the Saints, with some podcasters from the Saints. Man, the name escapes me right now because I'm drinking water, but I could tell you what the name is now because I do want to give them a shout out. The Sports Coma with Big Q. What Slim said, if you got Mostert, drop him. But all right, guys, it's been real. I will talk to you guys on the next one, Thursday, with the Sports Coma to talk about the game against the Saints. Appreciate the follow, Lunch Break Hot Take, and you guys have the link for the Patreon is on the banner, but I will type it in here for you guys too, so you guys can check it out. There you go. Just come on in. I mean, it's only $3. $3 is the lowest. We do an MVP giveaway for our MVP subs, and we also have a franchise that we're doing film sessions and things of the sort there as well. But all right, man, you guys have a good one. Peace.